Hello everyone, this is Delphine with the CultureQuirk channel. So I realize this is a little bit late since this event happened a couple of weeks ago now, but I wanted to get a couple of those language learning videos up and out of the way. And this is my first video review. I've done several little reviews on Japanese doramas on my blog, but this is the first time I'm actually vlogging about it. And I'll be talking about a movie that just came out, which is Gantz. Now, I've never read the manga or watched the anime, and I'll admit it, I wanted to see this movie due to the actors that are in it, mainly Ninomiya Kazunari, since I'm a big fan of the J-pop group that he's a part of, Arashi. But I had heard a lot of good things about the manga and the show, so I was really excited to see what this movie was all about. So first, I'll lay out just a general synopsis. I don't want to give away too much, but I will be giving basic plot, so careful for any little minor spoilers. So the movie starts out with these two friends who are hit by a train and die. Happy start. And they wake up in this room and they're with other people who have also claimed to be just killed, and they don't know if they're somehow alive or if they've been transported to this other world or what. There's this giant black sphere and they don't know what it is. They're all very confused and distraught and they just want to go home. Well, throughout the movie, they're equipped with these special suits and weapons, and they're sent out on these missions where they have to destroy targets. They don't know why they're doing this or anything at first, but they don't really have much of a choice, and they learn more and more about what's going on as time progresses. So that's all I'll say about that. In general, it's an action movie, there's a lot of violence in it and whatnot, but it's also very focused on the characters. So first, I'll go over the stuff that I liked. I was really surprised by how high budget this movie was. The special effects and stuff were really great, which is not something that I usually see outside of, Hollywood. So visually it was a lot of fun, and then I thought the acting was great. I'm a huge fan of Nino as an actor, so I thought he did a really good job, and the other actors I think did a decent job too. And then the story was a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be just a simple action movie with not much else to it, but I was surprised by how deep the plot was. The characters were interesting, as well as all their relationships. There were some interesting plot twists. I mean, it was great. So I was really happy that while I was initially just excited to see Nino on the big screen, if nothing else, I got so much more than that, and I had a lot of fun watching it. And now for the stuff that I didn't like so much. My biggest problem with the movie didn't even really have to do with the movie itself. It was the English dubs. As happy as I was to be able to see Gantz in the US, in theaters, I really wish they had subtitled this. And I think everyone else in the theater did too. I don't really like dubs in general, but these were especially bad, and unfortunately it did sort of ruin the experience. So it's kind of hard to judge the movie just because of that. For example, the acting didn't really come off too well in English. I think the actors did a decent job from what I know about them and from what I could see, but the English voices really didn't do them justice, so it's kind of tricky to judge that. As for other problems that I had with the movie itself, one was the pacing. Again, I'm not sure if the English dubs had something to do with this, but a lot of the scenes felt kind of slow and dragged out and a little unnatural. The action scenes could have been a little bit slicker on that note as well. Oh, and here's one detail that really bothered me. The characters were so bad at using their weapons. They all have a gun that makes things explode, and they never use it. They always seemed like they waited for the right moment to attack or something, and so there might have been a good reason for it, but they had unlimited ammo. I mean, it just didn't make sense to me. But that's just a detail. The last thing I'd mention is the violence. In some parts, it was just a little bit too much for me. Most of the movie was just fine. There was just this part at the beginning that I had trouble watching. If you've seen the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. Again, I don't want to give anything away, but it involves a lot of exploding people and blood and guts flying everywhere, and it was just a little bit excessive, but hey, maybe that's just me. So there we go. I think this one was hard to review because while I did enjoy it, the English dubs I think really did take a lot away from it. I cannot wait to see this movie in Japanese. But having said that, I could still tell that this was a fun movie. I mean, if you like action, then you'll enjoy the action in it. The plot was deeper than I originally thought. The acting was decent. The special effects were great. So there's a lot to enjoy. So if you're interested, I would recommend you checking it out as soon as the DVD comes out, because if you live in the US, seeing it in theaters was just a one-time thing and it's already passed. Speaking of the event, I had a lot of fun going to that. It was only in select theaters, but there was a live broadcast, which had a screening of the film and then afterwards an interview with the two main characters played by Ninomiya Kazunari and Matsuyama Kenichi. The whole live aspect was really exciting and I loved watching the interviews. I was really happy that they were asked questions and answered them in Japanese, and then they had interpreters with them that translated what they said after they'd said it. And from a Japanese learning standpoint, I realized I understood a lot of what they were saying, which made me really happy. So the event was a lot of fun. So for those of you who saw it, what do you think? And for those of you who haven't, I recommend you check it out in Japanese. Hopefully when the second movie comes out, if and when it's played in theaters here, it will be subbed this time. So that's what I think about Gantz. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Bye!